The void presses in from all sides. It is a quiet, crushing emptiness. Your ship, the Odyssey's Reach, glides through the black. For weeks you have seen nothing, only the distant, cold glitter of ancient stars. Then, an alert chimes, a single hopeful note in the deep silence. You lean forward in your command chair. Your eyes are fixed on the main view screen. A lone contact appears on the scope. It is small and tumbling slowly end over end. It is clearly not a rock. The vessel's design is antique. It is a human design from the early expansion era, a forgotten pioneer. Your tech officer, Kalen, pushes his glasses up his nose. His voice is a low hum of disbelief. He confirms the ship's registry. It is the Starlight Scout, lost over 300 years ago. It should be a wreck, a field of debris torn apart by micrometeoroids. Instead, it is almost perfectly intact. Commander Eva Rostova stands beside you. Her arms are crossed. Her expression is a mask of calm authority. She gives the order to approach. Your pilot, Ria, answers with a sharp nod. Her hands dance over the controls. She eases your ship closer to the Ghost. You feel a strange chill run down your spine. The Starlight Scout floats before you. Its hull is dark and pitted, yet it seems to be waiting. The ship is a metal tomb adrift in the endless night. You order Kalen to scan for life signs. The answer comes back as expected. Negative. There is no life, no power, no heat, just a cold, silent derelict. But something is wrong. A faint energy signal pulses from its bridge. It is a looping distress call, too weak to be detected until now. You decide to board it. The airlock hisses open with a sigh of ancient dust. Your boarding team steps onto the deck of the Starlight Scout. The ship's internal gravity is offline. You float through corridors of absolute darkness. Your suit lights cut sharp beams through the gloom. Everything is coated in a fine layer of frost. Crew stations are silent and empty. It is a haunting, still diorama of a long-dead mission. You reach the bridge. It is surprisingly clean. The command chair sits facing a dead view screen. A single console still glows with a faint amber light. This is the source of the energy signature. Kalen gets to work immediately. He bypasses layers of security decayed by time. He says the ship's final log entry is intact. It is a captain's log. The final one. You give the command to play it. A woman's voice fills your helmet. It is thin and weary but filled with a strange resolve. Her name was Captain Eris Thorne. She was the sole crew member of this scout ship. Her first words are not of disaster or attack. They are of a profound and aching loneliness. She speaks of the crushing silence between the stars. She describes the weight of being the only human for 1,000 light years. She had spent years searching the void. She was charting the empty spaces between the great galactic arms. Everyone told her there was nothing there, just dust and rogue planets and dying stars. But she had a theory, a hope. Her voice cracks with emotion as she describes her discovery. It was something that defied all known star science, a finding that made her centuries of solitude worthwhile. But it was a discovery that also sealed her fate. She sounds proud and utterly terrified. Her log continues. You and your crew listen in rapt silence. Captain Thorne describes a pocket of space, an oasis hidden from all sensors. It was tucked away in an eddy of space-time, a place that should not exist. She entered the anomaly. On the other side, she found an impossible world, a planet teeming with life. She called it the Garden. It was a world bathed in the soft light of a gentle, ageless star. The world was not just alive. It was aware. The ecosystem existed in a perfect, harmonious balance. The forests were great, soaring structures of living crystal. The rivers flowed with liquid light. And the inhabitants, she called them the Lumina. They were beings of grace and innocence. They were tall and slender. Their skin shimmered with a soft, internal bioluminescence. Their voices were like chimes in the wind. The Lumina had no concept of violence. They had never known war or deceit or fear. They welcomed her. They showed her their cities of woven light. They shared their songs of the silent universe. For the first time in her long journey, Captain Thorne was not alone. She walked in a world that felt like a dream, a paradise found in the heart of the great emptiness. Your own ship's sensors confirm it. The anomaly is still there, a faint distortion in space-time, a doorway to another place. Captain Thorne's log shifts in tone. Her initial wonder becomes a scientific curiosity. The Lumina guided her to their most sacred places, deep within the crystal forests. There she found ancient artifacts. They were smooth, dark stones that seemed to absorb the light around them. They were scattered across the forest floor like fallen seeds. Each one was no bigger than her hand. When she held one, it felt warm to the touch. It hummed with a low, resonant energy, a power unlike anything in human experience. The Lumina called them the tears of the first. They believed the stones were gifts from their creators, relics from the dawn of their world. They treated them with reverence and a strange sort of sorrow. They never touched them. They only sang to them from a distance. Thorne, driven by human instinct, began to study them. She brought a few of the artifacts back to her ship. Her ship's sensors struggled to analyze their composition. The stones seemed to exist in a state of quantum flux. They were both matter and energy at once. Her voice in the log fills with excitement. She was on the verge of a discovery that could rewrite physics. But her excitement was not shared by her gentle hosts. The moment the Lumina saw her studying the artifacts, they recoiled. Their peaceful songs turned into warnings, their shimmering skin dimmed with a fear they could not name. They tried to explain through their chime-like language. They warned her of an ancient enemy, a shadow that hunted for this specific kind of power. They called them the Harvesters, beings who consumed the light of creation. The Lumina begged her to return the stones. They said her curiosity was like a shout in the dark, a beacon for those who would destroy their world. Captain Thorne was conflicted. She was a scientist, an explorer. The artifacts held the answers to everything. But her presence now endangered the very beings who had welcomed her. You can hear the rising panic in her voice. The Lumina became distant. Their cities of woven light grew dim. A palpable fear settled over the garden world. The paradise she had found was now trembling on the brink of ruin. And she was the cause. You look at Commander Rostova. Her face is grim. This ghost ship is not just a wreck. It is a warning. Captain Thorne ignored the warnings. Her drive to understand was too strong. She locked herself on the Starlight Scout. She dedicated every waking moment to the artifacts. She used every tool at her disposal. She subjected the stones to energy fields. She analyzed their resonant frequencies. For weeks, the code within them remained a stubborn secret. It was a lock with no conceivable key. Then, she found the answer by accident. Her ship's food synthesizer malfunctioned. A jolt of pure frustration shot through her. At that exact moment, the artifacts on her lab bench pulsed with light. A single, clear harmonic note echoed through the ship. She stared in disbelief. It was not her technology that affected them. It was her feelings. She began to experiment. She focused on her memories, the joy of her graduation from the academy, the sorrow of her last goodbye to her family, the fierce hope that had driven her across the void. Each complex emotion elicited a different response from the stones. They were not tools. They were not weapons. Her voice drops to a whisper in the log. They were seeds, dormant seeds of a creator race, a race that understood the universe as a symphony of feeling. They were waiting for a mind complex enough to wake them. The code was unraveling. The stones were a biological blueprint of immense power. They were the children of the first, left to sleep until a worthy guardian could be found. The lumina were too simple, too harmonious. They lacked the chaotic, contradictory storm of human emotion. The very thing that made Captain Thorne feel so alone, her messy, complex humanity, was the key. She had found the purpose of the artifacts. But her discovery came at a terrible price. Her breakthrough was a moment of triumph. It lasted less than a minute. Her ship's alarms screamed to life. Proximity alerts from every direction. She looked at her view screen. Her blood ran cold. The space around the garden world was suddenly full of ships. They had not arrived through hyperspace. They had simply appeared. A fleet of silent, crystalline vessels. They were shaped like cruel, geometric shards of ice. They did not hail her. They did not make any demands. They moved with a cold, terrifying purpose. The harvesters had come. The Lumina's ancient fear was now a reality. They were here for the tears of the first. They had sensed the moment of their awakening. Captain Thorne's emotional breakthrough had been the dinner bell. The harvesters began to surround the planet. Their ships formed a perfect, suffocating cage. Her log is now a frantic, real-time report. You can hear the hum of her ship's systems straining. You can hear the distant, muffled thuds of weapons fire. The harvesters were not attacking her. Not yet. They were focused on the garden world. They were deploying some kind of energy field, a sterilizing agent that was already beginning to choke the life from the planet below. She was outmatched and outgunned, a tiny scout ship against a fleet of silent gods. But she was human. Her next words in the log are a snarl of defiance. She was not going to let them have the seeds. She was not going to let them destroy that beautiful world. She had one scout ship, limited fuel, a handful of survey torpedoes. It was nothing. It was everything. The harvesters moved with cold, flawless logic. They expected capitulation or a swift, predictable attack. They did not expect her. She fired her engines, not to flee, but to dive straight into their formation. She used her small ship's agility to her advantage. She dodged between the massive crystalline structures. Their weapons were designed for planetary bombardment. They struggled to track her tiny, erratic vessel. She was an annoyance, a gnat buzzing around a pack of wolves. Rhea, your pilot, lets out a low whistle of appreciation. She recognizes the skill, the sheer, suicidal bravery. Thorne did not try to destroy them. She could not. Instead, she became a chaos agent. She fired her torpedoes at odd vectors, not at the ships, but at the space between them, forcing them to break formation to avoid collision. She vented plasma from her engines in unpredictable bursts. It confused their sensors. Her tactics were illogical, desperate, born of fear and a wild, protective fury. For a few precious hours, she held them off. She was a single human causing a fleet of alien destroyers to stumble. It was a testament to the power of unpredictability. Kaylin murmurs that their logic matrix must have been a nightmare. Trying to calculate the actions of a cornered human was probably a rounding error they could not solve. But she was burning fuel she could not replace. Her hull integrity was failing. She was buying time, but she was running out of it. Her desperate fight created a window, a small one. During a chaotic maneuver, her ship was rocked by a nearby explosion. She was thrown against a console. Her mind, already a storm of emotions, spiked. Fear, pain, rage, and a fierce, undying love for the innocent world below. On the lab bench, one of the seeds flared with an intense, golden light. It responded to her. It resonated with the raw, potent energy of her contradictory feelings. She had the key, but she had no idea what door it would open. The log captures her sudden realization. The seeds were not just dormant life forms. They were symbiotic. They needed a consciousness to guide them, a will to shape their power. The harvesters sought to claim them and use them as raw energy, a sterile, empty power source. But the seeds craved more. They needed the texture of real, lived experience. She raced back to the lab. The harvester fleet was recalibrating. Her chaotic dance was losing its effectiveness. They were adapting to her illogical nature. She knew she only had minutes left. She grabbed the seed that had responded to her. It felt warm in her hand, like a living thing. She knew what she had to do. The harvesters could not be allowed to win. The seeds needed a guardian. She had to give them one. The harvesters began their final attack, not on her, but on the planet. Great beams of coherent energy lanced down from the crystalline ships. They struck the crystal forests. They boiled the rivers of light. The beautiful garden was being systematically erased. The process was silent, efficient, and utterly monstrous. You can hear Thorne's ragged breathing over the ship's comms. She was watching a paradise die. She was faced with a devastating choice. She could try to escape with the few seeds she had on her ship. But the harvesters would eventually catch her. They would take the seeds. And the garden world would be lost forever. Or she could stay. She could make a final stand. She could try to use the seeds. But she had no idea what would happen. It could destroy her. It could do nothing at all. Her choice was clear. She could not save the Lumina. It was too late for them. But she could save their legacy, the tears of the first. She had to protect the future, not the past. Her voice in the log becomes eerily calm, the voice of someone who has accepted their fate. She says she is sorry for bringing this doom upon the garden, for failing to protect its people. Her only regret, she says, is that she will die alone. After all this time, still alone. Her final log entry details her desperate, brilliant plan. She could not fight the harvesters with torpedoes and plasma. She had to fight them with the one thing they did not have, the one thing they could not comprehend, her own humanity. She intended to imprint her consciousness directly into the artifact, to merge her mind with the dormant life form inside. She would become the guardian the seeds were waiting for. She knew the process would likely kill her. The raw energy of the seed could shatter her mind. But it was the only chance. She reconfigured her ship's medical scanner. She reversed its polarity, turning it from a diagnostic tool into a neural interface device. It was a crude, dangerous piece of improvisation. Kaylin mutters that the feedback alone should have been lethal. But desperation is a powerful inventor. Her last words are not for some future historian. They are for you, specifically for whoever found her ship. She says she will try to leave an echo behind, a fragment of herself imprinted on the ship's systems, a guide for those who would come after. She says the seeds need more than one mind, more than one lifetime of emotion. They need a chorus. Her voice finally breaks. She says, "Don't let me have been the last one." Please. The log ends. The amber light on the console flickers and dies. The bridge of the Starlight Scout is plunged into silence. The silence on your own bridge is just as profound. For a long moment, no one speaks. You are all processing the story of Captain Eris Thorne, a woman who crossed the void, found a paradise, and sacrificed herself to save its legacy. Commander Rostova turns to you. Her eyes are steely. What did she leave us? She asks. You direct Kalen to search the ship's computer core. Not the log files, but the command processor itself. He runs a deep diagnostic. At first, there is nothing. Just corrupted data and the ghosts of dead systems. Then he finds it. A recursive loop of code hidden in a partitioned memory sector. It is not a program. It is a pattern, a complex, shimmering waveform that looks less like data and more like a work of art. Kalen's eyes go wide. He says it is the unmistakable signature of a human neural imprint, an echo of a mind. He isolates the pattern. He carefully feeds it into the ship's audio synthesizer. A voice speaks. It is Eris Thorne's voice. But it is different now. Faint, distant, like a memory. It worked, the echo says. Part of me is here, and part of me is everywhere. She tells you that her consciousness merged with the seed. She is now one with the artifact. She is the guardian, but she is too weak. A single mind, a single lifetime of emotion is not enough to fully awaken the others. The echo of Thorne explains what must be done. The harvesters took the other artifacts. They have them stored on their flagship. They are trying to crack them open with brute force. They are failing, but they will not stop. You must complete her work. You must provide the final push. The echo tells you to configure your own ship's communication array, to broadcast a signal on a specific quantum frequency. But the signal cannot be data. It must be emotion. Your emotion. Commander Rostova looks at the crew, at Rhea, at Kalen, at you. Her voice is quiet but firm. We are the chorus she asked for. There is no debate, no hesitation. You all know what you must do. This is no longer a recovery mission. It is a rescue, a continuation of a promise made 3 centuries ago. You have the ship. You have the instructions. You have the will. Kalen begins work immediately. He slaves the comms array to the biofeedback sensors from the med bay. It is a strange and unprecedented configuration, turning a machine of broadcast into a conduit for the soul. Rhea plots a course, straight into the anomaly, straight towards the harvester fleet. There is no plan for a fight, no strategy for engagement. Your only weapon is yourselves. You and the crew gather on the bridge. You connect yourselves to the sensors. You close your eyes. The commander tells you to focus, to remember, to feel. You reach deep inside yourself. You think of home, of love, of loss. You pull forth your greatest joys, your deepest sorrows, your most passionate hopes, your most profound regrets. It is the chaotic, messy, beautiful symphony of a human life. Beside you, you can feel the emotions of your crewmates. Kalen's quiet pride in his work, Rhea's fierce loyalty, Rostova's unbending sense of duty, hope, grief, love, defiance, a chorus of defiance. You open the channel. You broadcast it all into the dark. Your signal hits the harvester fleet. The effect is instantaneous. The tears of the first, the dormant seeds stored on their flagship, react. They had been silent for centuries. Now they blaze with an impossible light. The harvesters are thrown into chaos. Their cold logic cannot process this new variable. This explosion of pure, raw, structured emotion. The seeds begin to hum, to vibrate, to hatch. From the heart of the Harvester flagship, beings of pure energy and light emerge. They are not physical in any way you understand. They are incandescent, shifting. They are the architects. The first, awakened from their long sleep by a human ghost and a chorus of hope. They turn their attention to the crystalline ships. They do not attack with weapons. They simply unmake them. The Harvester's ships dissolve. The geometric shards of ice break down into their base elements. The sterile, consuming fleet ceases to exist. It happens in total silence, a quiet, effortless demonstration of absolute power. The architects, these new star-born beings, move with grace and purpose. They are beautiful. They are terrifying. You have just helped unleash a power that could reshape the galaxy. You can only watch in awe. With the Harvesters gone, the architects turn their attention to the blighted planet. The garden. The world is a scorched and broken husk. But the new beings of light do not see ruin. They see potential. They see a canvas. They sweep over the surface of the world. Where their light touches, life returns. The crystal forests reform, taller and more intricate than before. The rivers of light flow again, brighter and clearer. The scars of the Harvesters are not just healed. They are erased from existence. The lumina are gone. Their simple, harmonious song is over. The architects cannot bring them back, but they can honor their memory. They seed the world with new life. Life that is more resilient, more complex. The garden is reborn, not as a fragile paradise, but as a living monument, a testament to the sacrifice that saved it. The star-born beings have become the planet's new guardians. Your ship floats in the quiet space near the restored world. A single being of light approaches you. It does not speak in words. It communicates directly to your mind. A feeling of immense gratitude washes over you, and you hear a voice, a faint echo within the feeling. It is Eris Thorn. She is at peace. She is no longer alone. She is part of a grand, new consciousness. She thanks you for answering her call, for finishing her work. Her sacrifice has given the galaxy a new, powerful protector. Her legacy is not a ghost ship. It is a universe filled with a little more light. You have fulfilled the promise of the Starlight Scout. You have brought her home.